listening to the Dank Swamp Rebellion. We're on air with Daniel Mary from Alt 92.3, and this is Radio Versus Podcast. Stay tuned. After the show, we'll be spinning a sweet ditty from them old ghosts.
That makes sense. I mean, we try to take the same approach to our interviews where it's like...
Actually, we're a lot muddier than that. We're like, hey, Hick Jeremy, we know you were in this movie Antebellum that made $50 billion, whatever, but we don't give a shit about who inspired you. You want to sit and talk some shit? That's how we do. Oh, wait, you don't... And I understand that because he asked us before he came. He's like, y'all don't have structured interview questions? And I said...
No.
He's like, man, I usually have to prepare for an interview. And I said, no, dude, this is you know. And I understand time slots and things of that nature, like what you do and how booked they are. And the same thing with him. Like, his shit was crazy because he's like, I got to be out of here by 9. I'm driving to catch a flight. I got to be at a photo shoot, and all this shit. I'm like, I understand, bro. And I get it. But it's I feel like interviews have become so generic, and it's good to see like when people take it to that level where you are unique about it. Like you're not asking the same thing, and we had Nong Nu and the Wild Montoos on our show, and I told them straight up on the air, we're not gonna ask you who your influences are and all that because nobody gives a shit. We want to know like what kind of beer you like to drink, how you like your crawfish. Let's just talk shop. And I feel like people relate to that better because when you see the realness of someone instead of just the persona all the freaking time that's always pushed in your face, then you're not so traumatized when any little thing happens, right?
Yeah.
You get the real sauce. Like if you're a true fan, you come on to this interview and listen to this one instead of your commercial cookie cutter type questions. And I feel like that resonates so much more with fans that if they know where to go for that real grit, they will go there first every time. And you have that same mentality, which is awesome.
Yeah, dude, I love your slot in the day, man. It's freaking awesome. It really is. I'm a fan, and I'm just stoked to have you on. Like, to me, you're one of the biggest interviews that we've had on the Rebellion as far as local talent goes.
Hell yeah.
And man, I love it. I'm glad you're here. And as far as I'm concerned, you might be in Alt 92.3, but from this day forward, you're always part of the Rebellion, man, whether you like it or not.
Oh, bro, all day. I mean, ever since I've been talking, first of all, I appreciate everything you said, by the way, and I appreciate you listening to Alt 92.3. I know there are other options out there that take people away from radio, but like I said, yeah, I'm a Spotify listener as well because I like underground music. But when it comes to the mainstream, I go to radio, man, because there's a lot of work and a lot of hard work that goes into curating those playlists, finding artists that, like, perfect example, man. My program director, Brad Steiner, he's from Tennessee. He comes from a top 40 station, and he's now dipping into the all world. But he's got so many connections where he's like, dude, I'm telling you. And you heard it here. Colors by Black Pumas, definitely heard it if you listen to Alt 92.3. We were the first station to play them in America.
Hell yeah.
That's awesome.
And they were nominated for a Grammy.
They're
phenomenal.
They're
Phenomenal, exactly. So that is what we do on a much grander scale. Like my company, Give It Hell Promotions, like I like to highlight the new up and coming in local music, and I'm very picky. That's what I built my career off of, and my life off of. Too, is just being picky and having these standards that you set for yourself and sticking with them. Obviously you got to venture outside here and there and kind of do things you don't want to do, but you got to find that balance, And in radio, I never knew there were so many moving parts until I walked in. And I walked in this room where it's just like machinery everywhere. I'm talking to the chief engineer, Franklin Gilly. Shout out Frankie G if you ever watch this. My guy, love that guy. He keeps all stations afloat, not just one. He is working. He's never left the office, even during the pandemic. He's been in the studio making sure everything was running and going. And it's crazy to be around, man. It really is.
That's awesome, man. It's inspiring, too, because we have so much respect for what you guys do. And I, part of why we're doing this is, like I said, when I was growing up, my grandpa worked on the oil field. And there were 2 syndicated radio stations in the morning that he listened to. And one was Walton and Johnson. And they were in New Orleans at the time. And then that's when they were based out of NOLA, and before they moved to I guess back to Dallas and then to Houston.
Texas, yeah.
And then it was he liked Howard Stern because he was a dirty old man. He liked to listen to all that dirty shit. And here I was, this young kid, and I used to listen to this stuff. But I was amazed because I always wondered how do they layer these things? How does that buffer music? So the production side of it is where I was more involved, interested in. That's what I thought about. Like, how are they doing these things? Are they playing a tape? I would think about, like, is somebody playing a tape while they're speaking and recording and all this stuff? Because that's the only way I knew how to do it.
Yeah, back in the day, that's actually how they did it, man. They had reels. I'm sure there's another name for it, but how it was explained to me is that while you're talking, you were literally doing 2 or 3 other things, preparing the next song and aping it to the next reel.
And if you're not on your point, you're gonna fuck it up.
100%.
It was an art form in itself.
Wow. See, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Now, I kind of want to do the same thing. Like, I choose when to come in during an outro, and I choose when to come in during an intro, and, like, I try to capture the vibe on the upcoming song and the song that just ended,
I'm right there with you. People don't realize when they listen to the little things, like the nuance of when if there's a certain beat and you come in your intro, how that affects how that sounds, right? Because if I put it a half a second off, it's gonna throw it off.
And
right?
dude, putting it in perspective too is like that itself being an art form is how people like Grandmaster Flash makes hip hop.
Which is, I will tell you what's the most amazing thing for me out of all this, and this may be the shrooms talking. But for the first time on the show, on the Dank Swamp Rebellion, I actually feel like I can actually identify with the guest on an artistic level, because that's what I do every single show.
Yeah.
Is that I do all the editing, all the audio editing, right? And I sit there, and it has become this dance that I do with it. And Tyler thinks I'm psychotic. He's like, "How do you love this?" And it soothes me. Leave me in the studio alone. Go away.
Yeah.
I got 50 more hours of Mario Party to play while I'm editing.
I'm right there with you, man. I have to edit all the interviews, and it really, that's an art form. Picking the good stuff and eliminating the random. Yeah, so anyway, the things that which you're going to have to edit that out.
I'm leaving that in.
Gotcha, bitch.
Daniel Mary visibly, audibly dying on the
We'll have a bonus episode of just us, ands, and that's the exclusive interview.
Or if you hear 6 minutes of something, and in that 6 minutes you hear 3 seconds of something that if you cut that and put it together, it's the punchline that'll kill you.
In the South, there's always a reason to drink beer. Now the Rebellion's giving you one more. Pickled Peppers Hop Shop. Homebrew kits delivered straight to your door.
The ceremony is about to begin.
Become a member of the 1 Million Brew Club today at pickledpeppershopshop.com. And don't forget to listen to Tyson and Tanner on their hit podcast, Pickled Peppers Hop Talk.
Check out Pickled Peppers Hop Shop. Use promo code DSR Talks to get 20% off any brew kit. And don't forget to try the DSR Talks Down the Bayou Magnolia Saison.
Pickles, peppers.
Dude, I can relate tremendously. You talk about local bands, but for the longest time, Lance Villafara of the band Variant, one of the best vocalists I've ever heard in my life. This is someone who used to come to Through It Was shows when he was a kid. They all thought that I was a lot older. And when I was in T-Dub, everybody was about 5 or 6 years older than me. I was 16 years old when they were all, 21, dude.
Oh, wow. And you were just fudging it at the bar?
Dude, we can go. So, let me finish this first. So, Lance has a horrible stutter. Man, I felt so bad for him the first time I talked to him, where, I just wanted to hug the dude,
But he's an incredible vocalist.
Incredible vocalist.
Isn't that insane how that happens?
Never stutters not one fucking time
So
while
fluid.
he's singing, dude. And I'm telling you, when I'm telling you this dude can sing, bro, he'd be a finalist on American Idol all day. And so we recently we had 6-foot sessions sponsored by Distrokid where we had to have local music on there, and I would interview them, and we would kind of jam out. And I had to edit his interview as well. But beforehand, and this is something you can take with you moving forward, if you know someone's got an issue like that, talk to them beforehand as a human. Like, hey man, how do you want me to approach this? Because I asked Lance, I was like, look, and I didn't say it's a known thing, but I was like, so when it comes to editing, do you want me to edit your letters out? He was like, Daniel, no. Why? He's like, now, if it's something too bad, because he will go to where he's like 15 seconds. Just kind of...
Yeah, tripping.
The whole time, bro, I just, like, my heart was breaking, you know? But when I left it and the way that I edited it, he called me afterwards the next day, and he was like, dude, I'm in tears right now. He's like, because you captured exactly what my music side of me is, and as well as my real, hey, this is just me, this is what you get.
Right.
And like, dude, we shared a moment on the phone, we really did, because that was hard for me, because I'm like, I don't want to take away
from who you are.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. And that's like, what's crazy is, interviewed Kenny Hoopa the other day, and he definitely just woke up from a damn nap, or he was high out of his fucking mind. But I had to edit out a good 6-7 minutes out of him just not there. But when you go back and watch the video, you can, man, I did pat myself on the fucking back when it came to editing on that one, because it looked like he cared, you know?
That's beautiful.
But,
We've been there.
just bring up the hard stuff, man, beforehand. And like, I had an interview today, and I was like, look, just let you know, I'm editing this, so whatever you fuck up on, whatever you don't want in, if you need to stop and go again, let me know.
There's a disclaimer that comes with the process itself.
And we give ours a couple days. I mean, this episode is going to be a few weeks out, just because of the way we're booked up. But we always let them know, man, in a couple of days, you know, you think about, hey, I said this thing, and because, man, we get people that come in our studio and they're like, they've been in all these interviews that are uptight, and they get in here and they let loose. We had a band get smashed in here until 2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. We had a dude smoke a blunt, have a panic attack, and have to call an ambulance. Thought we spiked, like, because he couldn't handle the weed we were smoking. And his homie had to drag him out. Like, it's, you know.
Yeah, it was rough.
Yeah, it's been a struggle. But on the other hand, it has also been the most surreal experience just to have the connections that we have now across the Gulf South. And that's the thing, is that and we're sure you feel the same way. And you say no, and you don't feel that way, just say, fuck you, dude, I don't feel that way. But we just want to give Southern people a better light. You know, we want to show them that, show the rest of the nation and the world that we're not a bunch of assholes. We're not idiots. We are talented. We're some of the most talented people come from the Delta region that we're sitting in right now, man. You know, and the world does not see it. And when people leave the bayou because they become actors, actresses, musicians, featured chefs, and they start denouncing that they're from the bayou, or they change, you know, where they're from. Oh, I'm not from La Rose. I'm from New Orleans. I'm from BR. No, you're not. You just a coon ass like the rest of us. Like,
yep.
No, we want to stay true to who we are. You know, the city's heritage. We talk about it a lot on this show. There's more heritage in history in one square block of New Orleans than most cities in the country.
True.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. And more bloodshed and more blood spilled. We've had more massacres go on, and we've had our fair share of everything. And you know what? I find like a lot of the media over the years, over the last 20 years and plus, and where they could really showcase it, has put the Southern people in a bad light. Like, we have this agenda, and we really don't. We just want to chill with y'all and party with y'all and have y'all come eat some food with us and listen to our music, because we love entertaining people, right? And it doesn't just go for the stage. It goes for our homes. We open up our hearts, our homes, our families, and every time that we have a new guest on the show, we have a new friend that's always invited to the crawfish ball, that's always invited to the barbecue. And that's the beauty of it, because you do not find that around the country. You find that here.
And you nailed all of it, especially because, have you ever heard of hospitality?
No. That doesn't exist.
Not a thing.
That's it. Nailed it right there. That's all that needs to be said, man. And we're actually having a 504 day on May 4th where we talk about nothing but New Orleans, and I'm interviewing various people asking, what's special about New Orleans to them and what keeps them here.
The specialist thing about New Orleans to me right now is that I can walk down the Riverwalk with 2 cops looking at me smoking a joint. They don't say a fucking word.
Well, damn, I didn't know there was that legal day.
They didn't give a shit, man. My wife and my kid was inside of the aquarium. I said, I'm going to go puff one real quick. The line's long. We were waiting to go into IMAX. And they were sitting there, and NOPD, hi, guys. And I mean, it was loud, man. I don't smoke no Mexican brown weed. Yeah. And they could tell. I mean, you could smell it everywhere out there. And it was sunny day.
You weren't a problem.
Nah, they didn't. And I talked to a local buddy of mine. He's a cop. He's actually about to retire from TPSO, and he told me, he said, "Man, what happened to the days of potheads?" He said, "We never had to fight you guys." He said, "Y'all just give up. You put your hands behind your back. You get in." He's like, "Now we got meth and heroin and all this crazy shit we're dealing with. We'd take the potheads back any day. We just give, you know."
Yeah, the hard drugs where people try to eat your face. All we want to do is eat your cereal, man.
Yeah, man.
You got Cinnamon Toast Crunch? Let's fucking go.
Let's
Fuck your face,
do
Cinnamon
this.
This is Grovon Mayer from the Dank Swamp Rebellion podcast, reminding you to stock up on your Elmer's Chewies. Get you some of that. I'll tell you, the original's good now. The original's real good. I like me the barbecue one. I like the taco one. Bruh, I dip that in some ranch meat. They got the hot and spicy. They got the pizza. The pizza one's real good, man. And so is the green onion. And if you like a little something sweet after, get you some of that caramel popcorn. They ain't sleeping on that caramel popcorn. And remember, if it ain't Elmer, it ain't Chewy.
Elmer's Quality Snacks since 1946.
Oh, and don't forget about those seasonal flavors. This message was approved by Grovon Mayer.
I had some people send me some stuff from Colorado. See, what's another thing that's crazy about this radio world is it's digital now. People can listen from all over the world from all923.com or our app. And dude, I've got a friend named Dave Buttersworth, and somewhere in England.
Sounds like a delight.
But it's crazy. He sent me some sort of candy bar from there that he sent. Had a guy from Canada send me a Lions bar, which is like a chocolate.
A Lions bar?
Yeah.
It's a Canadian thing?
It's Nestle, but it's only in Canada.
Okay, so to the 2 Canadian guys in Nova Scotia that listen to us, send us a Lions bar. We want to. We each want one though. I don't like to share with this fucker. I want my own.
Give these men a damn Lions bar, you Canadians.
Come on now.
Right.
I don't know how.
Have you ever had a crunch? I mean, a Kit Kat that was made with Nestle chocolate.
How would I know that? Would it be in different packaging or something?
Well, I'm just wondering if you ever been out of the country.
I had a Kit Kat bar. I had the green tea Kit Kat bar.
No, that's still made by Hershey though.
Disney World, really?
Like when I went to the Bahamas, I walked into the gift shop and I said, "What the hell is this?" Because it was a Kit Kat in a different wrapper, and it said Nestle on it. And I quickly Googled it, and I realized that only Kit Kats in the U.S. are Hershey, but everywhere else in the world is Nestle. And they had the regular ones, and they had the dark chocolate, and I bought them all. And she said, "What the hell are you doing, man?" And I said, "You don't get it." And I walked back to the private beach at the Hilton with all these candy bars, and my wife's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "They're made. It's Kit Kats.
Look at it. Look at it.
Was it that big of a difference?
It was amazing. I'm not gonna lie. Like I had diarrhea so bad because I ate a box in a day. I couldn't stop eating it.
That's too much, man.
It was too much chocolate. It was like the meat squirts, but worse.
The chocolate meat squirt.
The worst kinds.
The Hershey squirt.
But that's what was cool about the Bahamas. I was able to learn so much about our own country from leaving the country. It's amazing because you just learn those differences that you take for granted even on a daily basis, right?
Yeah.
And that's when you come to appreciate it. And even though you're listening base, you know, you get those around the world. You know, I do know that we still have like 2,000 listeners strong in India. So, India, hit up D. Mary. They love the Dank Swamp Rebellion. Don't know why, but
it's because we're teaching them English.
we talked about Kerala, India, on our earlier shows, and ever since then we've had a pretty solid listener base in Kerala, and actually through the whole country. It's spread out. It's pretty cool.
You say the name of a city or place, and then all of a sudden people listen from that area.
It's like a manifestation. It's
What's up, Bangladesh?
Yeah,
Bangladesh.
Get at me.
So now you're gonna remember to put Bangladesh in the new tag.
Yeah.
Switzerland, what's up? Free healthcare. How's that going for you?
Actually, Ireland listens also. Belgium, believe it or not, is one of our big listening countries, which is cool.
Wow, that's so random.
Yeah, it's Louisiana, and then
Belgium.
And then, well, it's Louisiana as a whole, and then Dallas-Fort Worth as a city is our second largest listening audience. Then India as a country, then Belgium, Ireland, and then there's like some German stuff in between all that.
It's crazy.
That's how you know you're doing it right, man, or wrong. Like, are you supposed to be attracting that crowd?
Right. One day we had like the Iraqi it was like a thing this long, one listener, and I was like, oh shit. Drone down, motherfucker.
Yeah. The Iraqi paramilitary or some shit.
It was literally like in some type of sovereign. It said some type of sovereign nation, and it was in the middle of the desert in Iraq. This one listener, and I'm like, this has to be a VPN. I hope it's a VPN. So we're still alive from that, so I guess we're good.
I mean, we do advocate for NordVPN kind of often. So.
And a while back, do you remember? Did you ever hear of the? Don't go there. We don't need a lawsuit. Did you ever hear of the Happy Valley Dream Survey?
No.
So a couple years ago, and this has resurfaced twice in the last decade. And what happened was flyers were left all over the place, and it said, "Call the Happy Valley Dream Survey if you've been having reoccurring or odd dreams." And then all of a sudden, there were these Futel payphones that showed up everywhere, and they were free payphones, and they were all on Wi-Fi servers. And if you pressed option 3, it went straight to the Happy Valley Dream Survey. Mm-hmm. So we actually called that on our show, and it's pretty odd because it's literally a British recording that says, "You have reached the Happy Valley Dream Survey. Please leave your dream after the message," and then they sent us a text after. But they have been harvesting these dreams from people for a long time for whatever reason, but nobody can ever find where it's coming from because the VPN keeps moving.
Yeah, it's so wild, dude.
Yeah. Like, have you had reoccurring or odd dreams about anything? Just call, leave a message about your dream, and they'll send you a text message back and say thank you for whatever.
And the ominous part about this, too, is like once you get the text back, it says, "We have recorded your dream, and we've taken into account and will recalibrate." So, like, you could take that as so many different ways, right? But
so now some people that have called have actually been murdered.
Yeah.
Like, there was a guy that called in 1998 that they found strangled by a catheter tube on his balcony sitting in a wooden chair after he got home from work.
Okay, that's too many random things in one sentence. What the fuck? What?
You're on air with DSR and Daniel Mary.
Was it his catheter tube? Or like, what?
Well, that was my question, and of course, there was a lot of classified, blacked out shit that they wouldn't show, and I was like, man, I hope they didn't pull it right out of his pee hole and choke him with it, because that's just not sanitary.
On the Dank Swamp Rebellion, I'm learning that you learn about crazy, mysterious deaths, and you learn about crazy characters who you loved and are now characters in other things. Thanks, Dank Swamp Rebellion.
A message of endorsement from D. Mary on 92.3.
That's the best promo we've ever had. Hell yeah. You can tell you're a professional.
$37. You call me a professional.
As I reach towards the sun, burn my ego for fun. As I receive the stars.
Thank you for listening to the Dank Swamp Rebellion podcast. Come back Saturday for part 4